A new book by legendary journalist Bob Woodward has ignited a new controversy over Donald Trump. According to the book, Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin have spoken with each other several times since Trump left office. And they spoke repeatedly before Trump left office in calls the Trump administration never publicly disclosed. Here's a report from CNN.
The book reveals phone calls never before revealed between Trump and Putin, including a verbatim conversation where they discuss that Trump secretly sent to Putin scarce COVID testing machines for his personal use. Putin, please don't tell anybody you sent these to me. Trump, I don't care, fine. Putin, no, I don't want you to tell anybody because people will get mad at you, not me. They don't care about me. Woodward also writes that a top Trump aide, Pamela, told him that Trump had as many as 7 phone calls with Vladimir Putin post-presidency since he left office.
Donald Trump, by his own admission, has had a close relationship with Putin for years. In the 2016 presidential campaign, Trump publicly urged Russia to find and transmit missing emails deleted by Hillary Clinton. Trump said, "Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing." U.S. intelligence agencies later determined that Russia had meddled in the 2016 election to help Trump, although special counsel Robert Mueller found it did not amount to a criminal conspiracy between the Trump team and Russia. As president, after one private meeting with Putin, Trump took the interpreter's notes and refused to turn them over to the U.S. State Department to be archived. In recent years, Donald Trump has criticized U.S. support for Ukraine as it fights off Russia's invasion. Trump has said that Ukraine should have made concessions to Putin before Russia invaded in 2022. Donald Trump says the assertions in Woodward's book are not true, although the Kremlin confirms Trump really did send COVID testing devices to Putin at the height of the COVID crisis. In Michigan, Donald Trump running mate J.D. Vance was asked about the new book and responded by denigrating the author.
What little I know about Bob Woodward is that he is, I'm going to use a word here, he is a hack. The guy's a hack. So have I talked to Donald Trump about his calls with Vladimir Putin? No. I've never had that conversation with Donald Trump in my life. But if Donald Trump, even if it's true, look, is there something wrong with speaking to world leaders? No? Is there anything wrong with engaging in diplomacy?
Actually, private citizens, including a former president who is out of office, are forbidden under the federal Logan Act from engaging in foreign policy that undercuts the U.S. government. So if Donald Trump said anything to Putin that went against the Biden administration policy towards Russia, Trump broke the law. In other words, if Donald Trump and Putin were talking about the weather, that's fine. But if they spoke or discussed anything that would undermine the Biden administration, Donald Trump committed a crime. Unfortunately, the Logan Act, which was enacted in 1799, has rarely been enforced. There have only been 2 prosecutions under it, both in the 1800s, and neither resulted in a conviction. Still, the Trump-Putin conversations certainly look unseemly and underscore allegations that Donald Trump is beholden to Moscow. New York Times White House reporter Peter Baker once served as Moscow bureau chief for the Times. He offered his assessment recently on MSNBC and noted to anchor Katie Tour that some of the Woodward reporting is vague.
In relation to Donald Trump lobbying Republicans not to give Ukraine money, was it around that same time?
Woodward doesn't say. He says the one call he specifically references took place in early 2024, and that's as specific as it gets in the book. So we don't have any dates for any of the other calls, if there were, in fact, other calls. Trump has said repeatedly that Putin is a genius, that he can solve the war in less than 24 hours, even before Inauguration Day if he's elected, and essentially has said he doesn't really seem to care too much whether Ukraine wins. The terms he and his running mate have seemed to focus on as a possible negotiating basis for a peace deal would involve Russia keeping all of the land in Ukraine that it has illegally seized by force, and Ukraine giving up any hopes of joining NATO and declaring its neutrality, giving a guarantee, in effect, to Russia. Those are, of course, terms that Putin would certainly like. Again, we don't know, what took place, if anything in these conversations that might have taken place between Trump and Putin, but it raises new questions.
Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is up to more shenanigans. This time, his connection to foreign adversarial governments has seemingly been confirmed.
I rise today to introduce articles of impeachment against Associate Justices of the Supreme Court Clarence Thomas and Samuel Anthony Alito, Jr. Against Justice Thomas, the resolution includes 3 total articles: 1 count of failure to disclose financial income, gifts, reimbursements, property interest liabilities, and transactions, among other information, and 2 counts of refusal to recuse from matters concerning his spouse's legal and financial interests before the court.
2 Democratic senators, Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island and Ron Wyden of Oregon, sent a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland asking him to appoint a special counsel to investigate likely undisclosed gifts and income from Thomas's known friend and associate billionaire Harlan Crow and other donors. The senators alleged that Thomas may have committed tax fraud by accepting and failing to disclose gifts worth potentially millions of dollars. So we already know about Harlan Crow. That was a huge headline when the connection between Crow and Thomas was first reported. But the problem isn't necessarily the gifts themselves. As Thomas said, many of the gifts were personal hospitality from close friends. It's understandable that when you're a Supreme Court justice, you would have friends in higher places, friends like Harlan Crow. The problem is the fact that he, a law practitioner at the absolute top of his field, failed to disclose the gifts properly, if at all. In the letter from the senators, they disclose a list of likely undisclosed gifts and income from Harlan Crow and affiliate companies and other donors. Most notably, it's been revealed that Thomas allegedly took a yacht trip to Russia and the Baltics, which included a helicopter ride to Yusupov Imperial Palace in St. Petersburg back in 2003. St. Petersburg also happens to be Vladimir Putin's hometown, but there are no details as to what Thomas was doing at the palace or who he met with. As far as how he may have gotten away with keeping this trip concealed for over 20 years, Ukrainian-American activist Igor Sushko posits that Thomas likely entered and exited Russia on an oligarch's yacht in the Gulf of Finland, so his U.S. passport wouldn't have a record of visiting Russia. In the request for the investigation, the senators said this: "We do not make this request lightly. The evidence assembled thus far plainly suggests that Justice Thomas has committed numerous willful violations of federal ethics and false statement laws and raises significant questions about whether he and his wealthy benefactors have complied with their federal tax obligations." Presented with opportunities to resolve questions about his conduct, Justice Thomas has maintained a suspicious silence. No government official should be above the law. We therefore request that you appoint a special counsel authorized to investigate potential criminal violations by Justice Thomas. They also mentioned that the full scope of these non-disclosures is still unknown.
So the bad news is that we have a rogue court that has been captured by special interests and that is over and over again in appalling pattern continuing to follow the direction of the billionaires and the front group through which they operate. The good news is that the public is fed up. Congress is fed up, mostly. And the Judicial Conference is beginning to tighten up the rules on the Supreme Court justices. I'll close by pointing out that the case is often made that Congress has nothing to say about regulating the ethical conduct of the Supreme Court justices. The Supreme Court justices' own behavior belies that notion. When the first round of Harlan Crow to Clarence Thomas gifts of free yacht and jet travel came out back in 2010, 11, and 12, those questions were referred where? To the Judicial Conference, a body established by Congress. For what? For review under the disclosure laws passed by Congress. And through all of that process, we had a judge who was involved in that point out weaknesses in the process at the time. But what didn't happen in that process was for Justice Thomas or any of the other Supreme Court justices to say, wait a minute, you have no authority over me. I am not subject to the disclosure rules. You cannot investigate me. There's even a remedy if it looks like the failure to disclose was willful, for a referral to the Attorney General for a proper full investigation. And that question, whether the Harlan Crow to Justice Thomas second round of yacht and jet travel gifts should be referred, is before the Judicial Conference right now.
Meanwhile, Democratic Representative from New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, announced earlier this week that she's introduced articles of impeachment against both Thomas and his conservative colleague, Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito. The articles also accuse the justices of failing to disclose gifts from wealthy donors, and Thomas is further accused of failing to recuse himself from cases where he had a demonstrated conflict of interest. In a statement, she said, Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito's pattern of refusal to recuse from consequential matters before the court in which they hold widely documented financial and personal entanglements constitutes a grave threat to American rule of law, the integrity of our democracy, and one of the clearest cases for which the tool of impeachment was designed. Justice Thomas and Alito's repeated failure over decades to disclose that they received millions of dollars in gifts from individuals with business before the court is explicitly against the law. Congress has a legal, moral, and democratic obligation to impeach. Will the impeachment work? It's highly unlikely. There is no reason for Republican congresspeople in either the House or the Senate to vote to remove a conservative justice from the bench. And we already know how the Supreme Court, with a few notable exceptions, feels about bribes, or gratuities, as they call it. With the current system, there is no incentive for Thomas or Alito to step down from their positions, and if they don't do it themselves, who's going to make them? They already seem immune to public pressure because usually they're the ones issuing judgment on other similarly embroiled officials. They're so well protected on that bench that they hardly even demonstrate remorse whenever allegations such as these turn up. What's the point? They don't need to curry favor with the public. We didn't vote for them. They're never going to run a re-election campaign. We pay their salaries, but only because we don't have much of a choice in the matter. There is very little that we can do to them. But the president could do something if he really wanted to, if it was justified. He hasn't yet, but he could. And if it wasn't already completely obvious that there needed to be some kind of reformation of the Supreme Court, it's pretty clear now. At the very absolute least, can we at least just get rid of these lifetime appointments? And sure, appoint the special counsel, run the probe, file the articles, do the due diligence, and then do something actually meaningful at the end of it all. This government is completely unsustainable with one of its three branches completely rogue. And that's not to say that the other two branches are in fine working order at the moment, but if the 21st century has taught us anything, it's that our systems are not impenetrable, they are not infallible, they are prone to corruption, and they need to be strengthened.